My new wife, Serafina, had fallen for another man. To shield him, she had taken a bullet. If the shot had been just a tiny bit to the left, she definitely wouldn't have made it. The very first thing she asked for when she opened her eyes wasn't for me or for the doctors, but for a divorce. She looked right at me, her eyes distant, and said, "In that moment when I thought I was going to die, the only regret I had was that I hadn't married Leo." Before this, I had always stubbornly refused to sign the papers. I had clung to the hope that things would change, that she would come back to me. But this time, seeing the look in her eyes, I just signed. Yet even with her wish granted, she didn't seem happy or relieved. She frowned slightly and reached out to grasp my hand. "We were married for a long time, Dominic. If you have any requests or demands for the settlement, just name them. I'll agree to almost anything you ask for." I gently pulled my hand away from hers and met her gaze calmly. "Then agree to this," I said. "Once the divorce decree is finalized and official, we never see each other again." It was such a very simple thing to ask for, a clean break. But in the end, she couldn't even keep that promise. Our two separate wedding ceremonies ended up being held at the exact same venue. She stood there, watching me in my tuxedo, as I walked toward another woman who would soon be my wife. She completely abandoned the man she had risked her own life to marry, and actually tried to stop me, begging me not to go through with my wedding. When I first got the phone call that Serafina had been shot and was in the hospital, I rushed there immediately without thinking. I found Leo sitting miserably by her bedside, looking utterly tormented and distraught. He was holding her hand tightly, repeating over and over, "Serafina, please don't die. I promise I'll be with you forever. Just don't die." When he saw me walk into the private ward, he looked up at me with eyes full of tears and a kind of desperate defiance. "Serafina got hurt because of me, Mr. Clark," he choked out. "I don't want to ruin your marriage, but she doesn't love you anymore. Why can't you just let her go?" I took a deep, steadying breath, trying to keep my voice even, and simply said, "Please leave the room." He reluctantly let go of her hand and backed out the door. "I'll be waiting right outside," he called back. "The very moment Serafina wakes up, I'm the one she'll want to see." I then looked down at the woman lying on the pristine white bed. Her face was pale and drained of color. My heart slowly turned cold, inch by agonizing inch. She loved him that deeply, didn't she? She didn't even care about losing her own life for his sake. This terrible gunshot wound was entirely for him. Leo had gotten into a major argument with Serafina and had foolishly provoked Miranda Black, a powerful woman with extensive and dangerous connections in both the corporate world and the local underworld. He was incredibly arrogant. He told Serafina he refused to be the other man anymore. He told her clearly that if she didn't divorce me soon, he would just go and find some random woman to be with instead. He was actually the one who first approached Miranda. He told her he wanted to be her new boyfriend, and even went with her to a hotel room, but then he instantly got cold feet and backed out at the last minute. In retaliation for the insult, someone violently smashed a hole in his head. Miranda had made it clear she wouldn't let him off easily. She sent men to kill him. They had him cornered on a deserted, winding canyon road, intending to end his life. Serafina arrived with her bodyguards just in time and took a bullet for him. She later claimed that this act had completely settled the debt. Miranda felt she had made her point, so she gave Serafina her respect and let the whole matter drop. Serafina did wake up. The first name she called out was indeed Leo. He was right about that. I looked at my own reflection in the glass door, dark circles under my eyes, the sheer exhaustion from a sleepless night washing completely over me. "He's right outside," I told her quietly. "You can have someone call him in." Serafina leaned back against the headboard, looking at me with a cold, almost detached expression. "Dominic, let's get a divorce," she repeated. When I thought I was dying, my only regret in this whole life was not having married Leo. Our marriage was always just a business merger anyway. There's no love between us. Why do you insist on clinging to me? It was true, we were a business merger. But for me, it hadn't been without deep feelings. We had grown up together, practically inseparable. The person I was originally supposed to merge with was someone else entirely. She was the one who came to me, seeking a partner for an alliance, arguing that we already knew each other inside and out, and that marrying her was better than marrying a stranger. I liked her more than I let on, so I agreed without a single moment of hesitation. A year ago, she suddenly brought up the idea of divorce. She said she felt absolutely nothing for me anymore. I refused to agree. I simply couldn't understand it. I kept refusing to sign the papers. Why had everything suddenly come to this? Just a short while ago, we were actually planning to have a child together. After that conversation, she rarely came home. She froze me out of her life completely. I spent countless nights questioning myself and what I did wrong. I even had to rely on prescription sleeping pills just to get any rest. It turned out she had been secretly hiding Leo at her estate in the Hamptons, ensuring her staff kept their mouths completely shut. She was afraid I'd make trouble for him if I found out. If it weren't for this terrible incident, I wouldn't have known she wanted to divorce me for him. She was actually willing to die for him. She genuinely loved him that much. I finally understood then. This marriage had truly reached its end point. "Fine," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Have your lawyers write up the agreement. I'll sign." She didn't look relieved at all. Instead, she looked at me with suspicion. "You're agreeing just like that? You won't change your mind or back out?" She probably thought this would be a difficult divorce that would drag on for at least a year. "I won't," I confirmed. Leo walked in right then. He rushed over and hugged her tightly. "I was scared to death, Serafina. Thank goodness you're okay." She gently patted his head. "As long as you're safe." Then she added, "From now on, you can stay by my side openly." Seeing this display, there was no longer any reason for me to stay in the room. I didn't spare them a second glance and walked out. Outside the hospital, I felt as if all my strength had completely drained away. I slid down the wall to the ground, my eyes burning. Serafina was the woman who had occupied my entire youth, from the age of 10 to 25. How could it not hurt this much? I went back to the villa and started packing my things. This house held too much of my effort and too many memories of our marriage. I didn't want to keep it. As I walked out of the villa with my luggage, a sleek car pulled up in front of me. It was Miranda Black. She reached out to take my suitcase. I dodged her touch. "Now you finally see her clearly. You're willing to leave her?" I looked at her with resentment. "You did all this on purpose, didn't you?" She smiled playfully. "Of course, trash like him isn't worth my time. But since he ruined your happiness, I thought I could ruin him a little too." I looked at the gauze still wrapped around her head. "I don't need you to do things like this on my behalf." She took my hand, her eyes full of laughter. "You're worried about me. If I wasn't afraid you'd blame me, I would have sent both of them straight to hell together." 6 months ago, I had accidentally saved a heavily injured Miranda on a dark, rainy night. After she fully recovered, she confessed her feelings to me more than once. I told her honestly that I was a married man. She looked at me with a disdainful smile. A wife who makes you live like a widower isn't worth keeping. I told her I wouldn't divorce Serafina, and asked if she knew something I didn't. She sneered. Since you won't divorce her, I'll just send her back to you. In just a few short days, she orchestrated this whole mess. She made sure I knew Serafina was keeping a man on the side. And she put a bullet in her. Miranda, don't cause any more trouble. The Vaughn family isn't a soft target. That day, I just wanted Serafina to see his true colors. I didn't plan on doing anything drastic, she defended herself. Who knew he'd go crazy and crack my head open? Then Serafina barged in with her people and took him away. It doesn't matter anymore, I sighed. The moment I agreed to the divorce, none of it mattered. I couldn't let go of her instantly, I knew that, but sooner or later, I would have to. She pinned me against the car, pulled out a ring from her pocket, and placed it right in front of me. She asked me, extremely seriously, "Since you're getting a divorce anyway, are you willing to marry me?" This time, I said yes. If not Miranda, it would be someone else eventually. The Clark family doesn't allow a divorced man to sit idle at home for long. I can fulfill the responsibilities of a husband, but it might take a very long time, or maybe even forever, before I can truly love you. Do you accept that? Miranda hugged me, joyfully. When she tried to kiss me, I turned my head away. She touched her nose awkwardly and smiled apologetically. This woman, who was usually so decisive and ruthless with everyone else, said to me carefully, "I was too fast." The division of our assets was incredibly complicated. Our families were merged and the financial interests were tightly intertwined, so it took a long, drawn-out time to process everything. This meant that Leo looked at me with open hostility every single time we met in the conference room. "Why are you dragging this out?" he'd demand. "Serafina made it clear enough to you." I saw the look in his eyes. He thought I was playing games to avoid the divorce. My tone darkened instantly. "You're the homewrecker here. What right do you have to question me? If you really can't wait, just have Serafina sign over all our joint assets to me as compensation for the last few years." I had given her my love all these years. There was no reason I should lose money as well. He shut up immediately, biting his lip and looking at me with aggrieved eyes. When Serafina walked in and saw his red-rimmed eyes, she shot me a displeased look. "What's the matter?" "I just want you and Mr. Clark to be done with this quickly," he whined. "He called me a homewrecker, but I didn't want this. I thought about giving up. I just love you too much." She gently touched his cheek, stroking it comfortingly, then looked at me sharply. "Don't bully him. He was never the one at fault here. I was the one who wouldn't let go." This protective display was truly touching to witness. I clenched my fists tightly, lowered my eyes so she wouldn't see the sadness I could still feel, and curled my lips in mockery. "Heh, knowing you're the other man and still acting the part, and you say he's not at fault?" Serafina looked terrible after my retort. She asked the lawyer what was left to settle, and ordered everything to be transferred to my side as compensation for the breakup. In the end, the marital home went entirely to me. I got an extra 10% of the assets, and she bought back my shares in the Vaughn Corporation at 10% above market value. She was certainly generous with money, but then again, she was willing to die for Leo. These worldly possessions meant nothing to her in comparison. When we finally signed the papers, she held my hand down on the table. "We've known each other for so many years. If you ever need anything in the future, find me. Consider it a debt I owe you." I pushed her hand away and replied coldly, "No need. I only have one request. Don't appear in front of me ever again." She looked at me, surprise flashing in her eyes, followed by a hint of sadness deep within them, as if she couldn't believe I could be so absolute in my demand. But soon, she returned to her calm, composed self. That flash of sadness seemed like an illusion. She twitched the corner of her mouth and replied casually, "Of course. I have no problem with that. I was never the one clinging on to you. I hope you keep your word." Serafina had always been the one I chased. Before the marriage and throughout it. She truly disdained entangling herself with me. That sentence really did sound like a bad joke coming from me. No wonder she was so confident. So much for never seeing each other again. A month later, I ran into them at a prestigious auction house. The moment Serafina saw me, she seemed to let out a breath she'd been holding. A small smile played on her lips, and her eyes held a smug look as she raised one eyebrow. If I recall correctly, I received the invitation to this auction last month. You're the one breaking your word now. The clear implication was that I knew she would be here and came anyway, that I wasn't here by accident, but for her. I forgot, I said simply. Next time we meet, don't bother saying hello. I didn't want to talk to her, so I walked inside first. I really had forgotten the auction schedule. For the past year, she never took me to public events, so I had gradually lost interest in tracking her schedule. I came to buy a gift, nothing more. As we passed each other, the air around Serafina seemed to drop a few degrees, making it noticeably colder. As soon as I entered, whispers broke out all around me. Everyone was saying there was going to be a show. The freshly divorced ex-husband bumping into the ex-wife, and her new lover at an auction. I sat down in a quiet corner, trying to ignore the gossip. Some items I liked at the start were quickly snatched up by Leo. His provocative gaze kept landing on me from across the room. Serafina just watched him mess around with a doting look, until a pair of exquisite rings by a famous designer came up for bid. The craftsmanship and design were beautiful. "Serafina, I'll win these for you. Let's use them as our wedding bands, okay?" Leo emphasized the word wedding heavily, clearly afraid I wouldn't hear it. Serafina's gaze fell on me, and she said, "Okay," with extreme indulgence. The auctioneer spoke. "These rings are hand-carved blue diamonds by Ollie, titled The Pact. Starting bid, $1 million. I raised my paddle immediately. Leo followed right behind. $2 million. We went back and forth a few times, raising the bid higher and higher. I gradually lost patience. I didn't want to waste any more time, so I raised my hand and signaled an unlimited bid, the sky lantern. "Mr. Clark has lit the sky lantern," the auctioneer announced. "This item goes to Mr. Clark." Leo looked at Serafina with a clearly wronged expression. "Mr. Clark is trying to make our relationship difficult. I really liked those rings, and he just put in a max bid. That's so excessive." Serafina looked at me. There was no annoyance at losing the item, only a smug satisfaction. "It's just a public auction item, Julian. If you like his work, I'll get Ollie to custom make a pair for us. Don't be mad, sweetie." Sweet words came easily to her. When Serafina wanted to charm someone, she could truly make them dizzy with love and attention. I used to be the one falling for that gentle, affectionate look. Now, seeing her be so tender with another man, a feeling of deep discomfort shot up like a small, hot flame. It wasn't anger, just a wave of nausea. Leo kissed her cheek and said he loved her the most. Serafina froze for just a second, glancing at me almost imperceptibly. I stood up immediately. I had what I came for. There was no need to stay. After paying for the item, I was blocked by Serafina. She pinned me against the wall in a secluded corner, questioning me. "Dominic Clark, who was it that said we should never meet again? Even if you forgot, what is the meaning of you buying these rings?" She trapped me, preventing me from moving. Her eyes, looking up at me, held a faint mockery. "I'm using them myself," I said flatly. She acted as if she'd heard a massive joke. The laughter in her throat couldn't be suppressed and spilled out. "Are you saying you're getting married?" My yes hadn't even fully left my mouth before she continued on her own. "Don't say such ridiculous things. You've loved me for 9 years. How could anyone else catch your eye so quickly? Is it necessary to tell such unbelievable lies?" Loving her for so many years was a fact I couldn't deny or explain away. I had no way to defend myself against her certainty. I also felt deeply embarrassed and didn't want to argue this point with her. I took a deep breath and changed the subject. "You chased me out here just to talk this nonsense? Give me the rings. Leo likes them. I can trade you something else for them." Hearing this, anger mixed with a stinging pain choked my chest, intensifying rapidly. My eyes felt hot as I stared dead at her. "He likes them, so I have to give them up? Why? I don't want anything of yours. You can't afford to trade for these rings. Can you let go of me, Ms. Vaughn?" She stared at my red eyes and fell into silence. Finally, she reached her hand toward my face. Just as I was about to block her, a hand grabbed her faster than I could. "Serafina, don't bully him. Dominic, are you okay?" Leo's voice was full of concern. "I told Serafina not to take things people love, but she insisted on trying to get the rings from you. She upset you. It's getting late, and it's not safe for you to carry such expensive items alone. Let Serafina drive you back." I immediately took a few steps back from both of them. I wondered if these two had some sick fetish, insisting on getting in my face to show off their love. But I had no interest in being part of their twisted little game. "No need," I said firmly. "I have a ride." Luckily, I saw Miranda's Maserati parked across the street. "The rings were for our wedding," I clarified. "My ride is here." I jogged across the street. When Miranda saw Serafina standing a few meters away, her eyes grew cold. The car door slammed shut, and she ordered the driver to go. "Let me out." I was shocked. Why was she here? Her eyes were like those of an angry, bristling leopard. My phone rang. I chose to answer it immediately. "What is it?" "Who picked you up? I've never seen that license plate. It's not one of yours." Serafina's voice was tight. "I don't think I need to explain myself to you." "Dominic, even if we aren't married, we're still friends. I'm also the older sister who watched you grow up. You can't get involved with random people just to spite me. It's already late." Miranda looked at me with aggressive eyes. Hearing Serafina's voice on the phone, the gloomy aura around her grew heavier. She took my earlobe into her mouth and bit down hard. Hard enough to feel, but not hard enough to break the skin. Caught off guard, I let out a low groan. There was a brief, stifled silence on the other end of the phone before a dry, dark voice asked, "What are you doing?" "Ms. Vaughn, you talk too much and you manage too much." Miranda spoke into the phone with clear displeasure and hung up the call. "You said you wouldn't see her again. What did you just do?" I was angry. "I wanted to kiss you. Are you going to dodge me again?" I was silent. Silence means consent, I knew. She kissed me forcefully. She looked at me with burning eyes. Her face was calm, but her ears were red as blood. Her lips were glossy from the kiss, beautifully shaped with a distinct Cupid's bow. Because she had used too much force, she had bruised them slightly. "Do you hate it?" she asked tentatively. The space in the car was too small. Looking at her eyes, I felt hot. "No." "Then can I kiss you again?" I reached out and wiped a tiny bead of blood from her lip, teasing her. "No. Your technique sucks. Is Serafina good? That promiscuous queen? She must be good." "It's my first time, initiating a kiss with a man. Isn't it normal to be bad at it? Let me practice on you more. I'll definitely get better. Better than her." She looked at me resentfully, arguing, unconvinced. This clumsy appearance was actually somewhat cute. "If your subordinates saw you like this, you'd lose all your authority. Nobody else gets to see. Only you. You still haven't told me why you met her today." Seeing how serious she was, I knew if I didn't tell her, that frown wouldn't loosen all night. I held up the pair of rings I'd won. "I bought wedding rings for us. Do you like them?" Her hands shook with excitement. She hadn't even opened the box before saying she liked them, loved them, without a doubt. After opening it, she immediately put one on, looking at it again and again, the love in her eyes overflowing. So this is what it looks like when someone truly, passionately likes something. I once hand-picked a watch for Serafina with even more care than this. I went to Switzerland personally to serve as an assistant to a master watchmaker for over 6 months just to get him to help me design it. I added the tulip pattern Serafina gave me the first time on the dial and made the watch by hand. My hand was scarred by a tool during the process. It cut deep to the bone. Even now there's a faint pink scar, but when I gave it to Serafina, she just thanked me plainly. Later she said she lost the watch. Actually, it was because Leo was unhappy she was wearing something I gave her, so she threw it into the ocean. She never cared about me. It was always just settling for me. The wedding date was set. Miranda took me to meet her friends and hand out invitations. When we finished, it was very late. Her villa was near the bar, so she took me back there. She gave me the master bedroom and had the maid prepare the guest room next door for herself. The next day, there were urgent company matters. She said it was a critical moment in the Black family power struggle. Otherwise, she would want to stay with me. I joked, "Then the eldest Miss Black better succeed, or I'm very snobbish. I might call off the wedding. I definitely won't let my future husband suffer." Before leaving, she kissed me again. I laughed. "Stop messing around. Go do your work." The driver took me back to my new villa. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw a very familiar figure at the gate. It was the person I used to be able to spot instantly in a crowd of thousands, Serafina. When she turned around at the sound of the car, I saw she was still wearing yesterday's dress. There was a pile of cigarette butts at her feet. She looked haggard, her eyes bloodshot, with faint purple shadows underneath. It looked like she had waited all night. Seeing it was me, she strode over, grabbed my wrist, and questioned me with eyes full of accusation. "Where were you last night?" I replied coldly. "I don't think I have an obligation to report my whereabouts to my ex-wife." She reached out to touch the corner of my mouth, her eyes becoming increasingly dark. I hissed in pain and slapped her hand away. "We aren't in a relationship where you can do intimate things like that. Stay away from me. How did you get hooked up with Miranda Black? I checked that license plate. It's Miranda's car. Was the accident with Leo before related to you? Did you trade your body for her help? Is that it?" With every question, her tone dropped lower. By the last sentence, she sounded ruthless, like she wanted to crush every word between her teeth. I wondered why she never paid attention to my whereabouts before the divorce, yet now she waited downstairs all night without even showering or changing. Turns out she was just impatient to interrogate me for Leo's sake. I slapped her hand hard. "No, don't question me like you have the right." She licked the cut on the corner of her mouth, her gaze toward me turning colder. "Ideally, it has nothing to do with you. I won't let anyone hurt Leo. But I also watched you grow up. Don't get too close to Miranda Black. She's not a good person. She'll do anything." "You talk too much," I shot back. "You think Leo stole me, and Miranda has a fleeting interest in you, so you want to be with her to get revenge on Leo and on me?" Serafina really was confident. She insisted on linking everything I did to her or Leo. I didn't even want to maintain surface-level politeness anymore. My words were sharp. The earth doesn't revolve around you two. We're divorced. From that day on, my life has nothing to do with you two pieces of trash. Stop putting gold on your face in front of me, okay? Serafina had never been treated like this by me. In the past, was I ever not gentle, asking after her well-being? She couldn't handle the loss of face, her expression darker than ink. Look out for yourself. Don't play yourself into a corner. Even if there's really something between you and Miranda. You say you're marrying someone else. Even if it's true, I won't care. She emphasized the last sentence heavily, as if to reinforce her own certainty. Refusing to listen to any more of her nonsense, I went inside and told security to remember her face and never let strangers in again. The news that both Serafina and I were remarrying spread quickly through the entire Beijing social circle. Many people sighed. They thought childhood sweethearts would have a happy ending. Unexpectedly, we couldn't escape the cliché fate where the childhood friend loses to the new arrival. I don't know what kind of cursed fate it was, but we even scheduled our weddings for the same day. When Serafina's best friend saw Dominic's wedding invitation, they were throwing her a bachelorette party. Seeing her staring blankly at the invitation, her expression confused. "Nessa," one asked, "what do you think about your ex-husband remarrying? Did the Clark family send you an invite? You probably won't have time that day anyway. You were so cold to him that year. You skipped anniversaries, forgot his birthday. Even on your own birthday, after he prepared everything, you'd make excuses to drink with us instead of going home. The cruelest time was when he got into a car accident. You just told him over the phone that you weren't a doctor and couldn't treat his wounds. You didn't even go see him. Dominic tolerated all of that and refused to divorce. We all thought Dominic would never divorce you in this lifetime." Serafina downed a shot of vodka. She felt she should say she didn't care, but the discomfort in her chest had been there since she heard that ambiguous groan over the phone. Over these past few days, it had intensified. This wedding invitation was like pouring oil on a fire. The suppressed sparks turned into a raging inferno, burning her all over. The person who cared about her so much was really going to marry another woman. She dazedly recalled many moments about Dominic. He had been handsome and dazzling since childhood. But those clear, gentle eyes always stole glances at her. When caught, he would lower his head like a startled deer. Seeing her receive love letters, he would sulk secretly and ignore her. A few days later, he would beat around the bush asking what kind of guys she liked. He would steal kisses when she fell asleep, while helping him study. When he saw her mother's antique watch shatter, he ran all over the city just to find a replacement movement, then pretended it was a coincidence that he found someone selling it online. Once she casually mentioned a limited edition Lego set that was hard to buy even at a high price. Dominic delivered it to her as a birthday gift, claiming a friend needed money, and sold it to him. He thought he hid it well, but she knew. He had queued up personally, staying up all night, his dark circles heavier than usual. He did so much, yet hesitated to say, "I love you." Later, the Clark family intended for him to marry someone else. Upon hearing the news, she didn't hesitate. She bought a plain ring, went to the Clark house, and asked him if he'd be interested in merging with her instead of a stranger. His eyes lit up as if filled with moonlight. He took the ring and said yes. When they got married, he said he would be with her forever and would never like anyone else. "Liar. Who's a liar? Dominic," she shouted. "He said he would never like anyone else." Her friends around her couldn't help but roast her. "Nessa, look, we can be scumbags, but let's not be shameless. You're divorced. Was he supposed to stay celibate for you forever? Wanting your cake and eating it too isn't a good look. Don't tell me you regret it. You were willing to die for Leo. What's with the drowning your sorrows now? Right. She loved Leo, didn't she? When she first saw Leo, he felt like the opposite of Dominic. Flamboyant, confident, a humble background, but it didn't stop him from fearlessly helping others. When faced with injustice, he would explode and expose it directly. A small-time reporter not afraid even when half buried in dirt by thugs. She was attracted to that unyielding personality, feeling it was something she hadn't seen in her life before. For the first time, she had the thought of chasing someone. Leo would meet her, but return all her gifts. He said there would be no possibility between them unless she divorced. She brought up divorce to Dominic. The man who was always gentle smashed everything fragile in the house. He looked at her with a ferocious expression, saying divorce was out of the question. What was her mindset back then? Amidst the annoyance, there was a strange thrill. She felt he really loved her. As she asked more often, Dominic started demanding reasons. She was afraid the Clark family would take it out on Leo, so she deliberately hid him. In those moments, she was always silent. She wanted to freeze him out. Eventually, he would let go. With such cold interaction, their relationship grew stiffer. She thought she would really be stuck with him for life. But the moment Dominic found out about Leo, he agreed to the divorce easily. Before, she had brought it up so many times, and he refused every time, getting incredibly angry. Why agree so easily now? On the day of the divorce, she didn't feel the relief she expected. The day after tomorrow, she was marrying Leo. She got what she wanted. She should be happy. It must just be possessiveness at work. After all, Dominic was her former husband. She was also worried for him. Miranda Black was no simple character. The fight for the Black family fortune was causing a huge uproar recently. Dominic would realize this wasn't a good choice. She downed a whole bottle of vodka, stood up unsteadily, and walked out. Nessa, where are you going? Home. You're drunk. Call someone to pick you up. Right, call someone. She dialed a number. The number you have dialed is busy. She dialed again and again, refusing to give up, until someone next to her said, "You've been blocked." Looking at the name Dominic on the screen, she clutched her chest, slowly crouched down, and mumbled, "I really drank too much. I called the wrong number." When I saw Serafina and Leo at the wedding venue, I could only sigh at what kind of cursed karma existed between us. It was bad enough we chose the same day to remarry. We even chose the same hotel for the reception. Who asked this place to be the most prestigious wedding venue in the city? Serafina wore a pristine white wedding dress, but her expression was cold. It didn't look like the face of someone marrying the person they wanted most. Across the sea of people, our gazes locked. Looking at me, her eyes suddenly darkened, and the hidden emotions spilled out. I saw pain. Honey, you're looking at that heartless... Woman, do you want me to grab a gun and paint the walls red? Miranda's unhappy voice rang in my ear, and she secretly pinched my waist. I pushed her hand away. Stop messing around. I was just surprised. Too many people are watching you lately. Keep a low profile for me. I'll listen to you. Stop looking at her. Am I not prettier than her? Miranda was radiating joy because of the wedding, which diluted her usual murderous aura. Her feminine features needed little decoration to be incredibly beautiful. That's enough. What happened between you and Leo at the hotel back then? I glanced at Leo. He had chosen a burgundy velvet suit and was smiling smugly. But when he saw me, also in a suit, standing next to a woman, his joy receded significantly. Miranda's eyes were tinged with happiness. I thought you'd never ask, or didn't care. Originally, I didn't ask because I truly didn't care. Seeing Leo today, I didn't think about Serafina. Instead, I remembered Miranda's history with Leo. They went to get a room and he ended up getting his head smashed. Thinking about that, I was a little annoyed. Misunderstandings need to be cleared up, or they become ticking time bombs. At first, it wasn't for you. It was a sting operation. That guy approached me, so I pretended to take the bait. I chatted him up to collect evidence of him two-timing, wanting to warn your brain-dead ex-wife to behave and not divorce you. Who knew he'd dare to drug me? He helped me into the hotel, but I was still lucid. I had some guys ready to satisfy him and record it. But when he saw Serafina burst in, he suddenly went crazy and hit me with an ashtray. I sent people to chase him. You know the rest. So Serafina was just another fish in Leo's pond? She took a bullet for him. While others get scammed willingly, don't you think you're giving them too much attention? The wedding is about to start. Aren't you nervous? It's my second marriage. I know the drill. It's my first. I'm nervous. Honey, kiss me and I won't be nervous. Miranda interlaced her fingers with mine. Her palms were damp. She really was nervous. I cupped her face and kissed her. Better. Serafina, why is your hand bleeding? Go get it bandaged quickly. It's bad luck to bleed on an occasion like this. I heard Leo's nervous voice across the hall. I didn't look over. While Leo and I were waiting for the MC, he suddenly spoke. You just can't let go of Serafina, can you? Choosing the same venue, do you think you can make her care about you again? Are you a dog? Barking the moment you see someone? Miranda liked me too. She wanted me. That's why I broke her head. He was rather proud of it. No, you drugged her and tried to crawl into her bed, I clarified. As soon as I said that, his face changed drastically. You don't talk nonsense. I didn't. Are you trying to tell Serafina? She loves me so much. She won't listen to you. She saw me break Miranda's head with her own eyes. You two getting married? Good. Don't ruin anyone else's life. The MC called my name. Just as I was about to enter, a group of men in black swarmed in. Without a word, they grabbed both me and Leo and dragged us out. We were thrown into a black van, hands bound tight. They were dressed in black, wearing masks and hats. Leo was terrified, his voice choking as he screamed and questioned them. Don't take me. I didn't expose the violations at Yonghai Construction. Who are you? Do you want money? Someone slapped him hard twice. Shut the fuck up! Then a phone call was made. Boss, there were 2 grooms at the venue. We didn't know which one was Miranda Black's man, so we grabbed both. Idiots. You couldn't check first? I'll check now and release one. Use your brain. Going back now means getting caught. Take both. Anyone holding a reception at that hotel is rich. Ask for more. He's the one Miranda is marrying. Big brother, let me go. I promise I won't say anything. Leo started screaming again. A rag was stuffed into his mouth, leaving him only able to whimper and shake his head. I was much quieter. I had a tracker on me that Miranda gave me. She said the family situation was unstable lately, and someone might use me to threaten her. She needed to know my location to ensure my safety. Usually, bodyguards followed me. Today, because of the wedding, there were too many people, allowing these guys to slip in. Talking less meant suffering less. We were thrown into an abandoned factory. No light, no food. The way those men looked at us was terrifying. I dug my nails into my palm to stay calm. If you touch us, getting what you want from Miranda becomes impossible. Only then did they rein in their predatory gazes. They wanted 20% of the Black family shares held by Miranda. Send the file, sign it, and have someone deliver it. Then they would send me back safely. Let me hear his voice. I'm fine, but I keep hearing water here. I nearly drowned once. I'm terrified of water. Sign it and ransom me quickly. Don't be scared. Don't touch him. If you hurt him, you get nothing but a death sentence. The call ended. Just as the file was transferred, a gunshot rang out. A bullet flew through the window, blowing apart the head of the man in front of me. Several shots followed, and men dropped to the ground. Two figures rushed in through the door, one in black, one in white. Their eyes locked onto me instantly. Seeing I was okay, only frowning at the blood spatter, they both breathed a sigh of relief. Just when we thought it was over, someone jumped down from the rafters. He held a knife to both my neck and Leo's. "Underestimated you. Don't move. Let them go, and we can talk." The man holding the knife probably felt he had no way out. "Let's play a game. These two men are, the ones you're marrying, right? If you can both say one name simultaneously, I'll let him go. If you can't agree, I'll remove a part from their bodies, starting with the ears. Is this game fun?" I felt the knife tip, cold and biting. One wrong move, and he could slit my throat. "Say one person simultaneously." That was impossible. Miranda wouldn't give me up, and Serafina wouldn't choose me. Leo was whimpering, begging for help. The two women opposite us fell silent. "If you don't want to play, then die with them." The blade cut my skin. I hissed in pain. "Play. We'll play." The kidnapper counted down. 3, 2, 1. Both of their hands pointed at me. I looked at Serafina in shock. Beside me, Leo was sobbing constantly, yelling not to cut his ear. "So, this man is more important to both of you? Then I'll take his ear first." The moment he raised the knife, the two women charged in tacit agreement. Miranda caught the blade with her bare hands, while Serafina grabbed his other arm. They both kicked him down simultaneously. Miranda pinned the man to the ground. The others rushed in from the door to secure the scene. I gripped Miranda's hand tightly. "Go to the hospital! Hurry!" We were all taken to the hospital. Miranda's hand was cut deep. She needed stitches. She insisted on having my neck checked first. Confirming it was just a scratch, she finally agreed to get stitched up. Leo had passed out from fright. Serafina looked at me silently. The gauze on her hand was soaked in blood, but she showed no intention of treating it. Her wedding dress was dirty beyond recognition. Her face was pale, the corners of her eyes red. She looked at me with sorrow and said, "Dominic, can you not marry her? She's not right for you. If it weren't for her family's issues, you wouldn't have been taken today. But she risked her life to save me. She's hurt badly. If her hand doesn't heal right, it could be ruined. I've never been cherished like that before. With Serafina, I was always the one looking up at her," I reminded her gently. "Besides, didn't you say you'd give your life for him?" I glanced toward Leo's ward. "The one you love should be him." Her hands were trembling. She wiped her face fiercely, trying to look less pathetic. "I could give my life for him. But when you and he were in the same danger, you were more important. Can you not marry her? Give me another chance. I only realized just now that what I've felt for you all these years was love. I thought I didn't love you. I thought we married because it was suitable. But it wasn't. I love you. I just didn't understand what love was." She looked as lost as a child who made a mistake, wanting to explain but having no good excuse. In the past, if she frowned even slightly, I would do anything to make her happy. If she was hurt, my heart would have jumped out of my chest. But now, seeing her this wretched, I felt nothing. "It doesn't matter to me anymore. Everything before was a coincidence. Let's really not see each other again. You saved me today, so the past is truly written off. Let's just live our own lives. I have to go see Miranda. She's hurt badly. Regarding the past, I forgive it all. But we have no future." Serafina watched Dominic's resolute back as he walked away. The wound on her hand began to hurt more intensely. Miranda's hand was hurt, but hers was too. It hurt so much that her heart trembled with the pain. It was a piercing agony she had never experienced before. She tilted her head back and gasped for air. Why hadn't she realized sooner? It wasn't settling. It wasn't lack of love. Love had silently integrated into every single day. Leo was just a momentary freshness in a life as plain as water. He said, written off. No love, no hate. How cruel. She canceled the wedding banquet with Leo. Leo screamed and fought with her, demanded a sum of money, and left. She felt it was laughable. For such a hypocritical, money-loving man, she gave up the person who would have loved her for a lifetime. But there is no medicine for regret in this world. She could only watch day after day as the happiness that belonged to her became Miranda's.